YouTube, what is up? We are back with another day, and today is a quick one. We have about 45 minutes before HitTrax. The day is one of those days that kind of got lost in the sauce. We had a podcast today, we had a consult today, we had a BP video right before this, and then we had a softball team that had a outfielder drive to Palm Springs, Florida instead of Palm Springs, Cali. So we were trying to figure out flights to see if I could hop on a flight to go to Palm Springs, Cali. So I spent the last 45 minutes doing that, and now our workout is so condensed. That's going to be a little bit stressful to get it all in before HitTrax, but we have some no foot, no hook snatches, 5 sets of 2 there. We have some high hang cleans, like 4 sets of 1, I believe there. We have 1 set of squats at 83%, and then some accessories. If we can get to them, I'm probably going to have to do the accessories at the apartment place by myself after HitTrax tonight, but we had to skip the sprints today, which was honestly, was probably going to have to happen anyways. My legs are absolutely cooked from yesterday at domeball and hitting all those Nordics and single leg RDLs the past couple days. We have to figure out a better schedule for the sprinting. The reason that I sprint on Tuesday, Thursday is just because that's when the turf's open. Friday would typically, like I might try to sprint tomorrow, but the turf is kind of booked all day tomorrow. So we're going to try and find a way to sprint tomorrow if we can. Rip a little 2-a-day. We'll sprint in the morning, then hit some heavy lifts later at night. But if we can't get that in, maybe we'll hit it on the weekend. And we're not going to hit any jumps today just because we are in a rush. So let's get these snatches in and go from there. Let's go. Got 5 sets of 2 here, 165 on the bar, no foot snatches here. Let's rip. That was definitely not a no foot snatch. What are you doing, dude? Ooh, slow. Ooh, there we go. That's better. Ooh. Ooh, shoulders are sticky. Set number 3 here. Let's rip. Ooh. Ooh. Set number 4 here. Perform these every minute on the minute just to get them all in before we gotta go. We are running really short on time. Let's go. Ooh. Before we hit this 5th set, I'm using my 1 minute to describe this, and I'm sure this is going to be like a 7-minute rant, so I'm going to waste some time here. But I was asked the question, my favorite tips that have really helped me improve my cleans and snatches, and I get the same question with my swing, like softball swing, and I think the softball swing and Olympic lifting are very similar, which is why I think I get really addicted to them. But here's the cold hard truth. Like, there's not going to be one magic cue for you. There's not going to be one magic tip or one magic video that you watch that fixes everything forever. The benefit of watching videos, the benefit of hearing people talk about Olympic lifts and watching them do Olympic lifts is that they're light bulb moments of things you can go try and do in your lifts, but you have to go try them and do them and see if they stick with you. And again, sometimes a cue will mean one thing to you at that point in your Olympic lifting journey, and it will hold and it'll be great for like 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, it's not the thing that you suck at, or it's not the thing that's helping you, or it doesn't like get the brain juices going enough, and you gotta switch it up. So I'm a really big fan of like the variable approach when it comes to cues and drills, and like trying things out when it comes to the ollies and the swing and anything that is skill acquisition related, because I think it's all about just getting the brain to think about something different, and I think it gives it just a little bit more intent, and it gives you a little bit different intrinsic feel to the bar. There's not going to be one magic cue that fixes you in this moment that is like an end-all be-all cue for you. One thing that was really helpful for snatches for me was doing these no-foot variations. There was something about it that delayed that pull and made me feel really connected to the bar, and it still is a really good cue for me and drill for me to try and do, and it helps my snatches a lot. And I've done that no-foot drill for a lot of people, and it's helped them out a ton, but then there's some people that it doesn't help out a ton, or they can't get the feel of it, or it's not their weakness, right? So you have to find your weakness, and you have to find the cues that work for your brain and your deficiencies and the things that you suck at, right? So for me, a lot of the clean is just like a lot of front rack stuff and a lot of pull stuff, because it's what I suck at. My front rack sucks and my pull's not very strong, but my squat is very good. Whereas if somebody's able to have a really good pull, but their squat sucks, like I'm gonna have much different cues for those athletes to be able to build up their squat. And by cues and drills, I mean, I'm probably just gonna have them do a ton of squats and a ton of front squats, be able to build up those legs, be able to handle their clean, right? But that changes per athlete and what they're doing. And I think when you're looking for magic cues and magic things, like I think what you should do is approach it in like the range. Like if you haven't read the book Range, I'd really read that book because it was really helpful in my thought processes when it comes to coaching. But it's like you want to consume all of this information and all of these cues and all of these drills, and all of those things are going to kind of converge into like your cues that work and your feels that work. And the bigger you can make that toolbox, the better. But I think a lot of people really do get stuck in like one magic cue or one magic drill, and they just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, especially if it worked early. And obviously every athlete struggles with this. I struggle with this as well. It's like doing things that used to work for me and now they don't work for me anymore, and where I'm at in my Olympic lifting journey or where I'm at in my swing journey. Or maybe it's just not in the moment. Maybe it works then and it's just not clicking in my brain then, and then it works again like 3 weeks later, which is why I think it's really important to like have a notebook and have like a workout sheet where you're tracking the cues and tracking the drills that work for you so that you can come back to them later. But I think if the drill's not working, if the cue's not working, try a different cue, try a different drill, watch a different video, watch a different lifter talk about Olympic lifting, get a different perspective, go into the lift feeling something different. And I think when you feel and just, I think, feel something different, I think it just brings a little bit of a different intent to that bar and can help you unlock some feels when it comes to lifting and when it comes to swinging and when it comes to anything skill acquisition. That's what I'm trying for when it comes to teaching an athlete a skill. I'm trying to get them those unlock feels, a feel that is just a little bit different than what they're feeling. And a lot of times that's like a light bulb moment for them and they feel it, and then we can go from there. But again, that light bulb moment is kind of like a one-time thing. It's a light bulb moment, and then we got to go find that next light bulb moment. I think when we focus on special cues, people drain that light bulb until it's no longer there, and they're like, well, that cue doesn't work anymore, or this isn't working anymore. It's like, no, not really. That cue still works. That drill's still a really good drill. It's just not for you in that moment, at that time period, and what you're struggling with and what you're feeling. And maybe it's just not new enough for you. It's not enough variety for you to like get that new stimulus into the brain, which I think the brain thrives off of. When you give it a new stimulus, it's approaching it. I kind of approach it in the way of like when you're driving somewhere for the first time. It feels like it takes a really long time to drive somewhere new for the first time, because every way is new and you have to like think about the road and think about the turns that you're going on. I think the Olympic lifting journey is kind of the same, or anything skill acquisition wise is kind of the same, where you're driving somewhere new with a different feel and you're learning that stuff, but then after a while, after you've driven that way so many times, you just kind of start going on an autopilot. And I don't think when you're trying to learn something and trying to improve on something, you should be an autopilot. You should be on autopilot when the weights are heavy and when you're getting after it, but when you're trying to learn something and get a different feel, it should be like driving somewhere new and you should try something new out. And all of that to be said, none of the cues work, none of the videos work, none of the knowledge works if you don't actually just go do the thing. So many times I had all these ideas about swinging, and I was learning all the skill acquisition stuff, and I was learning all the emergence stuff, and I was thinking of all this stuff, and I went to the game and I still sucked because I wasn't swinging enough. And now I simplify and I just go swing. I take my 100 swings a day, and again, we're still approaching and like trying different things and trying different drills and trying different things, but I'm doing it in a way in which I'm actually drilling it and I'm actually doing it. And I'm actually unlocking those feels for myself, and I'm gaining confidence that way, and that's how you learn. If you're not doing it, you're not gonna learn. So there's not a ton of magic cues that I've done other than just doing the task in and of itself with a different thought process every single time, and that's kind of how I approach cues and drills with my athletes. But for one objective piece of data for you to try, I would try a no-foot snatch. That one has been a big unlock for a lot of my athletes and for myself as well, just to feel connection to the bar and not just like yeet myself underneath it, and it's still a really good drill, right? So let's hit this fifth set, let's go. Let's go. All right, now we got 4 sets of 1. High hang cleans here at 260 pounds. Should be moving. Let's rip. Oof. And I will say on the skill acquisition piece and cues for cleans and snatches, I do feel like snatches are the much more, if you're looking at the Joel Smith feminine versus masculine side of lifting, I believe snatches are much more feminine compared to cleans, which are much more masculine. And it's not like good or bad. Just means cleans are much more like feel based for me. I think a cleans is like a whip. It's like nice and slow off the ground and you're constantly accelerating and getting the bar up. And obviously cleans are the same way, but I kind of lose the feel of it when it comes to cleans. Like cleans just feel much more masculine in the sense of like, it's just get the bar up, move the bar fast, and it's so heavy that like I don't get a really good feel of that, where snatches are light enough to where like you have to stay connected. If you don't stay connected, you lose it. If you don't stick with that acceleration, you lose the lift. And that's honestly why I'm more proud of like my snatches recently, because the cleans just feel, and I have a background of cleans, so maybe that is just my thought process with cleans because I have a background and they're a little bit more automated. But when I go into cleans, like I'm not thinking about anything specifically. Like it's just get the bar up, move the bar, accelerate the bar. And when it comes to snatches, I'm thinking more whip-like, like a little bit more artsy, a little bit more feminine, to where it's like a feel off the ground, it's slow, fast, 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 fast into the acceleration. So I really like that acceleration feel when it comes to snatches. And obviously you're doing that with the cleans as well. You're accelerating the bar when it comes to cleans. But cleans just seem like much more 0 to 100 just because it is so heavy that if you think about like super slow off the ground, it's not going to work as well as where the snatches are a little bit lighter and you have time to accelerate that bar. At least that's my feel when it comes to them, right? So When I'm thinking about cleans, I'm not thinking a ton about technique or anything like that. And honestly, I don't have a ton of feel with the cleans, which is why they're probably not necessarily my favorite. Like, they're more just like the ego stroking, like, go get this bar, go get after. I get really hyped when it comes to cleans. And snatches is much more like I have to stay connected to the bar, and which is why I like learning the snatch a little bit more, because that connection piece is so key. It's not necessarily all about strength. Obviously, strength is a big piece, power is a big piece. But if you're powerful and strong, but you don't have that connection, the snatch is not gonna go anywhere. So when I'm thinking about the snatch, I'm thinking slow off the ground and accelerating like a whip. And when it comes to the clean, I'm literally just thinking like fucking man up and get that bar up and accelerate it. So I like the balance of those two, where the cleans is just much more brute strength and like get after it, and the snatches feel more like you have to have a connection to it. It's a little bit more feminine. There's a little bit more skill involved in those, and I kind of like that piece of it. And why I like that no foot snatch specifically, because it forces you to stay connected to that bar and accelerate that bar with that connection. Whereas cleans is kind of just go, like get that weight up and go. So that's my thought process with them. Let's get the second set. Oof. All right, set number 3 here. Let's go. Oof. We got one single left here, and then we got one crispy double on the squats. Then we will do our accessories at home. We got some hammer curls. We got some pull-ups. We got, what's one more thing? Hold up, let me check this. Oh, it's just an arm farm. We have some hammer curls, pull-ups, and some push-downs. So we'll rip all of that at the apartment place tonight, get a sickening arm pump in. Let's get this last set here. Ew. Oh, almost missed that. Front rack sucks. Let's get these squats. All right, sticking with this microdose squat approach here, building up to a crispy double at 380, and then we're out ski. Let's get it. As we're adding weight to this bar, kind of in a hurry, but I want to answer this last question. A little simple one, but how to do roller rolls if you don't have a space to do roller rolls and you're at a Lifetime Fitness. I know I've talked about this before. This is the extreme solution, but if you're at any space where you can bring your own equipment, as applicable to this, but maybe you could ask some of the managers there. But these mats right here, I got like 4 of them. I think they're like maybe $80 on Amazon. And I mean, they're not super thick pads. You're not gonna be able to do like backflips and stuff like that, but it breaks apart the landing just enough to be able to do everything you need to do when it comes to roller rolls on the ground. They're super cheap, super easy to be able to do. And any gym that you can bring your equipment to, I just recommend just investing in those pads. Those pads, we've had those for 5 or 6 years. They've held up really well, and that's with Yoakum Strength Abuse. We have not taken care of them. We've done some savage things on them, and they're still alive, still kicking, and we can use them for a ton of things. So that's the first solution. The second solution is if you're at Lifetime and you really have no way to bring in your own mats or do anything like that, just use little thin yoga mats and just go on the ground and go slow-mo rolls. So that is the first thing we teach when we do rolls, is the slow-mo roll, where you get on both knees here, you start in this position, you touch a shoulder to the ground. Here, maybe I'll just show one here. Touch a shoulder to the ground here, get both shoulder blades to touch while the feet are on the ground here. This is gonna be a sussy Instagram angle here. Both shoulder blades to touch, bend as much as you can while the feet is on the ground, and then you slowly roll over. All we're trying to do with a lot of these roller rolls, the main piece, segment that spine, get you to interact with the ground just a little bit, right? So that's a super simple solution that you can do. Put the yoga mats on the ground, do slow-mo rolls, get some segmentation into that spine, especially that upper back, interact with the ground just a little bit, and perform some slow-mo rolls if you can't get those big pads to do some dynamic rolls, right? You don't have to fully yeet to get the benefits of the roller rolls. Obviously, there's some cool things you can do if you can implement some more gymnastic type movements when you have the pads, a little bit more dynamic stuff that you can do. Interacting with the ground at higher speeds, it's obviously a little bit more applicable to a lot of things, but especially Gen Pop clients or clients that are not playing a ton of sports, I think just getting some interaction with the ground and some segmentation of the spine with these roller rolls is super beneficial, and you can do that with basically no equipment. Put a little yoga mat on the ground, roll back and forth through there. Do some maybe happy baby rolls where you lay flat on the ground, you grab your feet, you're rolling back and forth, right? It's good hip mobility. You can segment your spine, gets you to interact with the ground, makes you a little bit more athletic. They're fire. All right, let's keep rolling here. Oof. Oof. There we go. That'll be our last double. We'll put 365 on, and then we'll do 385 for our working set double, and then we'll be done. When we're doing these warm-ups, all we're trying to do is get the feel of the weight as we're going through, and that's one of the benefactors of doing Olympic lifts. I just feel like it simplifies the squat pattern and the regular barbell lift so much. I feel like I can make big jumps in my squat and my warm up without really having to think about it. Whereas before I was like having to get all dialed up for the squat. But now that you're doing so much weight with the ollies and in a much more athletic and like skillful way, hopping onto the squat bar, so simplified. That's why one of the benefits of the Olympic lifts is like it's an athletic way to lift the weight, and it makes everything less athletically much easier. And I've definitely noticed that in my squats. So we're just gonna hit this 365, just to get the feel of it, then we'll put a 10 on, we'll rip it for a double, and we'll go from there. Let's go. Oh, let's go. Now our crispy double here, 385 on the bar. We'll build this up as we go, but just microdosing the squats, feeling good. Good little primer for HitTrax too. Whenever I do one of these days and I go to HitTrax, I feel like I'm smoking the ball. My body responds well to these light lifting days. Let's get it, last set here. There we go. All right, I'm gonna clean this up, then get the HitTrax. Sorry for the rush day. Day got away from me. I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Keep chopping wood.